Black Scythe remarks that he stumbled on something unique and decides to keep it hidden for now, closing his status window. He wonders how Yongmin is doing and sees him standing in the field, remarking that he'll probably pass this round as well. The angel says she was wondering why it was getting boring to watch and says it's because the number of humans is decreasing to match the number of goblins, so she remarks they should make it more fun and vanishes all the corpses littered around before adding an extra 50,000 goblins. Terrified, the people wildly start fighting the goblins as the number of humans who've cleared the quests slowly increases till it's reached the determined number of 5043, while Black Scythe watches from outside unfazed. The goblins suddenly disappear, after which the angel tells them that half of the original number of people have passed, which is why the others who weren't able to complete the quest will have to die, since those are the rules of the game. The people who weren't able to pass desperately try pleading to her for more time, but she disposes of them all before asking the remaining ones why they look so depressed and remarking that they should be happy they're still alive, but dismisses it and says they can return now. She congratulates them all for passing the first round, hoping they can do just as well in the second one, and decides to check the detailed results before leaving. As she opens the window, she sees that Black Scythe has been ranked first across all zones for having completed the quest in just over 10 minutes. He receives 1,000 gold for ranking first in all areas and notices the others looking at him in shock before saying that they all know he's in first place now. The angel compliments how impressive it is for someone in her area to be ranked first in all zones and addresses Black Scythe, telling him to answer to her and asking how he's so strong and if he'd obtained a specific room before suddenly catching her mistake. But Black Scythe jumps on the chance and asks if she can't see the rooms he uses, to which she awkwardly replies that she obviously does since she's an angel, but was just asking. Black Scythe just smiles and addresses her this time and asks for a favor, saying he doesn't like the reward he's been given and wants a better one. Enraged, Angel confirms what he's just saying and angrily remarks if he's underestimating her after just killing some measly goblins, but she gets struck by a sudden idea and lands down before telling him to come with her somewhere private for discussing it, which he agrees to. As they're walking on a forest path, she inwardly says that she'll kill him once they're past a certain point. Once they're past the point, she turns around to ask him what kind of reward he's expecting, but he punches her in the face. On the ground, she furiously grapples with the fact that he just hit her and gets up to attack him, but Black Scythe disappears from in front of her with his agility and appears from behind before grabbing one of her wings and tearing it off her shoulder. Once she's done, he grabs the other one and tears it off as well before asking her if it hurts, remarking that's probably just what she'd have liked to do to him before killing him. She angrily asks what he's saying, so he replies that she was planning to kill him in here, showing the dagger hidden behind her wing, and says she doesn't need to lie since he can just read her face, addressing her by her real name, Brielle. He takes a weapon out as she shocking wonders how he knows her name before asking what he plans to do. He replies that he's going to kill her and says she's already lost the skill to explode his head when she threatens him with it. Shocked, she says he won't be able to get away with it since her fellow angels won't stand for this, but he replies that they're all selfish creatures and wouldn't care what happened to her before saying it's time for her to die now. She desperately says he won't be able to get back if he killed her now, but he still remains unfazed and says all the people automatically get returned to their world and that they're all nothing more than guides before stabbing her with his dagger. A screen appears saying he's gained the title of being the first ever Angel Slayer and receives Angel's Blood and the Rune of Slaughter as a reward for being the first person to kill an angel. Seeing that the rune will increase his stats every time he kills an enemy, he remarks that the other angels will be shocked by the fact that he already has one and looks at the vial of blood whose effects change his class to that of a Grim Reaper and explains that classes are granted to every player once they've reached level 10. There are 30 jobs, and it's simple to change them. Just find an item that lets you change classes, but an item like this is on a completely different level. As Brielle starts disappearing, he chooses the triple buff for the second round as his reward and remarks that he needs to get stronger since this seriously is his last time. Yongmin suddenly returns to the real world along with all the other people and says he just had a really weird dream as two of his friends wake up behind him, but they realize it was reality as all the other people confusedly talk about it as well. His friend notices that one of them hasn't gotten up and tries shaking him before realizing he's not breathing and that all the people who haven't woken up yet are dead. Seeing which, Yongmin starts smiling and says this is awesome. Yongmin remarks that it doesn't matter how big or small the person is in real life, since they're all the same in the game, and happily says he can stop grieving about how unfair life is now. He tells them to calm down since they just need to survive in the game and says everyone is also in this mess, which is why it's not unfair. His friend sighs, saying that he was basically a thug until now, which is why he can take it so lightly, but that's not the case with him because he still has a lot of stuff to do. He notices Yangmin looking around and asks about it, to which she replies that he's trying to find his personal errand boy, wondering where he is since he was here before they teleported. He notices a guy walking around in armor and wonders what he's doing in those clothes before suddenly realizing and opening his status window. He tells his friends about it, so they open theirs as well and discover that their stats have been passed into this world as well. As the newscaster explains that over 10,000 people suddenly collapsed after a woman wearing the guise of an angel appeared in the sky, and that the same phenomenon has occurred in 28 other countries as well. Black Scythe remarks that it's finally started and explains that it won't matter that the powers of the players have been transported to this world for now, but as they reach the later levels, they'll rise to the status of being transcendental beings, which will become far powerful weapons than any machinery ever could. He says the only way to stop the Earth from getting destroyed before level 20 is to actually control the players, and says he has a tactic in mind, but the time hasn't come yet for him to act on it. He heads home and finds his younger brother, Raywan, sound asleep for someone whose brother just disappeared from the face of the earth. He quickly wakes him up and says they've got to get going since the whole world is a mess. As they're walking, he tells him to look at the trending searches and explains that the souls of over 10,000 people were taken to the other world from where he barely made it back after killing 1,000. Worried Raywan asks if he's fine, inwardly remarking that he obviously has great inner strength since he's the one who took care of him when their parents passed away, but that isn't the equivalent of defeating 1,000 goblins. But he replies that physical strength doesn't matter there since it's based around stats like actual games, but Ryuan refuses to go with him if he doesn't explain where they're going, so he tells him that they're heading for Bang Taegyu's hideout, who's the guy that bullies Ryuan. He says they're going to end Bang Taegyu, who's been bullying him. Ryuan becomes shocked that he knew about this and says he didn't want to trouble him since he already has so many problems of his own, as he inwardly apologizes and says he didn't actually know and found out about it after returning from his first round. After Ryuan had left for a bit, he received a call a few hours later, asking him to come to the hospital, where he found out that Ryuan had become blind after getting beaten up by Bang Taegyu, and that his helplessness couldn't protect his own brother. In present day, he vows to never let anything bother him again. Meanwhile, Taegyu ruthlessly beats up the kids that didn't bring him 200,000 won, and says he was going to buy a motorcycle with that before asking his lackeys if there's anyone else they can wheedle the money out of, to which one of them remembers Ryuan. Taegyu starts smiling and says he was thinking to beat him up a bit for New Year's as well, but says he's completely broke and couldn't bring the money even after getting severely beaten up. He suddenly stops and notices Ryuan standing at the entrance with his brother and catches himself wondering why he got scared for no reason before angrily noticing his brother and remarking that he's got an annoying expression. He asks Ryuan if he brought another errand boy since he thought that he'd be bored, but his brother introduces himself as Hound, hearing which Taegyu angrily asks if he tried to tattle on him, says he and his brother are both dead today, before sending 3 of his guys forward to beat them up. As they slowly approach the brothers, one of them says the world's gotten better since Taegyu has an errand boy who tried to defy him, and asks Rowan if his brother is good before wondering if they should beat him up, comparing their heights. But Hound remains unfazed and punches that one hard in the face. His partner angrily steps forward and tries landing a blow, but Hound slams him away as well, so 2 attack at the same time, but he effortlessly knocks them both down. Taegyu, who's angrily watching from behind, remarks that he's just a nerd who learned boxing from somewhere and decided to come at him with that skill before stepping forward, saying he might not have learned the importance of weight, but Han answers that he must not have watched the news. Surprised, Taegyu asks what he's talking about and rushes at him after not getting an answer, but Han easily dodges all of his blows as he slowly wears down and wonders why he's unable to hit him, as Han powers his fists with blue flame and says that if he'd watched the news, he wouldn't have attacked a player like him before punching him hard in the face.